The year is 1869. Deep within the unforgiving expanse of Siberia, a child is born. His name is Grigori Yefimovich Rasputin. This boy, born into a world of peasant farmers, would rise from these humble beginnings to become one of history's most enigmatic figures. His life story, a tapestry woven with threads of mysticism, power and scandal, continues to fascinate us even today. Young Grigori's childhood was harsh, a constant struggle against the unforgiving Siberian landscape. The village of Pokrovskoye, isolated and remote, offered little in the way of formal education, yet even as a young boy, Grigori seemed different. He possessed a certain charisma, an air of the unknown. Whispers followed him. People spoke of his intense gaze, his ability to heal the sick, and his apparent connection to the divine. Some saw him as a holy man, touched by a power beyond human understanding. Others viewed him with suspicion, wary of his growing influence. Regardless, young Grigori's path seemed destined for something more than the simple life of a Siberian peasant. The vastness of Siberia could not contain Grigori Rasputin's ambitions. Driven by a thirst for knowledge and spiritual enlightenment, he embarked on a series of pilgrimages. He traveled to monasteries, immersing himself in religious texts and seeking guidance from spiritual elders. His reputation as a healer and mystic grew with each journey, spreading far beyond the boundaries of his remote village. Word of Rasputin's abilities eventually reached St. Petersburg, the glittering capital of Imperial Russia. In 1903, he arrived in this city of grandeur and power, a world away from his humble beginnings. The Russian Empire, under the rule of Tsar Nicholas II, was a land of contrasts. Opulence and extravagance masked deep social and political unrest. It was into this world of glittering facades and hidden tensions that Grigori Rasputin stepped. His arrival in St. Petersburg marked a turning point in his life, setting the stage for a meteoric rise to power and influence. Little did he know that his path would soon intertwine with the fate of the Romanov dynasty itself. Within the walls of the Winter Palace, Tsar Nicholas II and Tsarina Alexandra, desperate for a miracle, placed their hopes in the Siberian mystic. Their son and heir to the throne, the young Tsarevich Alexei, suffered from hemophilia. The disease, a hereditary condition that prevented blood from clotting properly, cast a dark shadow over the royal family. Rasputin, with his reputation as a healer, seemed to offer a glimmer of hope. Whether through hypnotic suggestion, herbal remedies, or some other unknown means, he appeared to ease the young Tsarevich's suffering. These apparent acts of healing earned Rasputin the unwavering trust and gratitude of Tsarina Alexandra. The Tsarina, a devoutly religious woman, saw Rasputin as a man of God sent to save her son. She became his most ardent supporter within the royal court, often defending him against accusations and criticisms from the Russian nobility. With each successful intervention in Alexei's health, Rasputin's influence over the royal family grew stronger, much to the dismay of those who viewed him with suspicion and distrust. As Rasputin's influence within the royal court solidified, so too did the whispers of discontent among the Russian aristocracy. They saw him as an interloper, a peasant who had risen above his station. His lack of formal education, his uncouth manners, and his unorthodox religious views made him an easy target for their scorn. Unfazed by the disdain of the elite, Rasputin reveled in his newfound power. He became a regular presence at court, often seen in the company of the Tsarina. His advice, once sought solely on matters concerning the Tsarevich's health, extended to political matters. He was consulted on appointments, policy decisions, even military strategy. The Tsar, a weak and indecisive ruler, seemed increasingly reliant on Rasputin's counsel. The Tsarina, blinded by her faith in the holy man, defended his every action. This alliance between the royal family and the Siberian mystic would have disastrous consequences for the Romanov dynasty and the Russian Empire. While Rasputin consolidated his power within the walls of the Winter Palace, rumors of his scandalous behavior swirled through the drawing rooms and salons of St. Petersburg. His reputation as a holy man, already tarnished in the eyes of many, became further sullied by accusations of debauchery and sexual misconduct. Stories circulated of wild parties hosted by Rasputin, fueled by vodka and attended by women of questionable virtue. His pronouncements of piety and religious devotion rang hollow in the ears of those who heard tales of his alleged exploits. Enemies of the monarchy seized upon these rumors, using them to further discredit the Tsar and his government. It is difficult to separate fact from fiction when it comes to Rasputin's personal life. His enemies were eager to spread salacious gossip, while his followers often attributed his behavior to divine madness or spiritual ecstasy. Regardless of the truth, the rumors of his scandalous lifestyle served to further alienate him from the Russian elite and erode public confidence in the monarchy. The enigma of Grigori Rasputin lay in his ability to inspire both reverence and revulsion. To his followers, he was a starets, a holy man touched by God, capable of healing the sick and offering spiritual guidance. They believed in his miracles, his prophecies, and his connection to the divine. To his detractors, he was a charlatan, a debauched hypocrite who used his supposed powers to manipulate the royal family and amass power for himself. They saw him as a threat to the stability of the empire, a symbol of the moral decay they believed was eating away at the heart of Russia. Was Rasputin a true mystic, or was he a master manipulator? Was he driven by genuine piety or by a lust for power? The answer, like so much else about this enigmatic figure, remains elusive. The life and legacy of Grigori Rasputin have captivated artists and storytellers for over a century. His story, a potent cocktail of power, mysticism, and scandal, has proven irresistible to playwrights, filmmakers, and choreographers alike. In 2023, the ballet Rasputin, starring Sergei Polunin, premiered in London to critical acclaim. The production delved into the complexities of Rasputin's character, exploring his inner turmoil, his spiritual yearnings, and his undeniable charisma. Polunin's performance, both physically and emotionally charged, captured the duality of the mad monk, showcasing both his magnetic appeal and his capacity for darkness. Decades earlier, in 1966, the film Rasputin the Mad Monk offered a more sensationalized portrayal of the Siberian mystic. Starring Christopher Lee as Rasputin, the film leaned heavily into the horror and intrigue surrounding his life, emphasizing his alleged sexual exploits and his influence over the Russian court. While historically inaccurate, the film solidified Rasputin's image in the popular imagination as a figure of both fascination and fear. As World War I raged across Europe, Russia found itself increasingly isolated and on the brink of collapse. The Tsar's leadership, already weakened by years of social unrest and economic instability, crumbled under the weight of military defeats and domestic turmoil. Against this backdrop of impending revolution, a group of Russian nobles, led by Prince Felix Yusupov, decided to take matters into their own hands. They believed that Rasputin's influence over the Tsar and Tsarina was a threat to the very survival of Russia. A plot was hatched to eliminate the Mad Monk once and for all. On the night of December 30th, 1916, Rasputin was invited to the Moika Palace, the residence of Prince Yusupov. There, he was served food and wine laced with cyanide. To the conspirators' astonishment, the poison seemed to have no effect on him. Undeterred, they resorted to more drastic measures, shooting Rasputin multiple times before finally dumping his body in the icy waters of the Neva River. The murder of Grigori Rasputin, a desperate act of violence intended to save the Russian monarchy, ultimately failed to achieve its objective. Within months of Rasputin's death, the Romanov dynasty collapsed, swept away by the tides of revolution that had been building for decades. Today, more than a century after his assassination, the legend of Grigori Rasputin continues to fascinate and intrigue. Was he a holy man touched by divine power? Was he a charlatan, a master manipulator who exploited a vulnerable royal family? Or was he something else entirely, a complex and contradictory figure who defied easy categorization? The answer, much like the man himself, remains an enigma. Rasputin's story serves as a cautionary tale, a reminder of the intoxicating power of belief, the seductive allure of charisma, and the dangerous consequences that can arise when faith and politics become dangerously intertwined. His life and death continue to hold up a mirror to our own fascination with power, mystery, and the enduring human desire to believe in something greater than ourselves.